Even reflective clothing is a good idea if you're walking around and lights will reflect off of you. Some people deliberately wear dark clothing at night so they are not detectable, and that's a whole batch of people. The contrast, the target's contrast can come from its size, its color, its smell, and its loudness. And then we attend more quickly to positively valued stimuli than to negatively valued stimuli. Now, there's a contradiction in this statement because the knuckle cracking that we were talking about earlier is a negative stimulus. You don't like it. It just annoys you, and it gives you chills up your back. I can just see you kind of becoming agitated. I'm not very good at it anymore. I could possibly have tried it. So we'll have to have a little bit of caution there. Then we have something called perceptual defense. Shield oneself from stimuli you negatively value. Now, so this might take some practice because I'm thinking of the comments about the sounds that you react to. And perceptual defense, incidentally, operates in the arena of people receiving feedback on their performance. If you are employed currently and your organization does any kind of a performance feedback, either written or oral or both, then you may shield yourself from anything that is negative in the report. And students do this, of course, in receiving feedback from professors in the form of a test score or written comments, and you react in whatever way that you react. Then we have some perceptual errors. I'm going to jump to the one called stereotype because that's one I would think that you would think of fairly quickly, and it's the beliefs and perceived attributes about a target based on the target's group. That is, you perceive the individual, for example, as associated with a specific group of people, and you have an attribution about that group that you carry over to the individual without knowing the individual personally. So let me try your stereotypes. Do you hold any stereotypes of people from Southern California? And if you say no, you're lying, I think. Do you have any stereotypes or images of people from Brooklyn? And you're smiling. No images? Or are you afraid to speak? This is tape recorded, but we will not release the tape to your mother or father. What is your image of Brooklyn? Up there. Yes, you commented.
I don't know, I guess Brooklyn people are a little bit more outspoken than a lot of other people.
Have any of you ever gone to Brooklyn, New York? Okay, what is your experience with people from Brooklyn, New York?
It's a little more fast-paced. Everyone knows what they're doing, where they're going, so you don't really know anything. You're kind of out of the loop, but it's just a big city, like big city society.
And actually, it's a borough of New York City. It's it's not really small, but it's a borough. What is your experience?
I don't know, I didn't find that different than anywhere else in New York, so.
Oh, in New York, okay. But compare it to Portland, Oregon.
Like she said, it's more fast-paced, like, you know, if you look like a tourist if you don't have a destination, you're not going to that place.
Okay. Now, perceptual set, to move from stereotype, are beliefs about a target based on information that you have of the target from other sources or previous experience with it. The rub here is whether the information is accurate and whether you have processed it in such a way that it is accurate for you. And we're going to test the accuracy of your perceptual process in a moment with an adaptation of the E exercise that is in OB Online. So let me pause because the next set deals with attitudes. Okay. Now, what I would like you to do is just relax, if you can do that. Don't take any notes. I'm going to put images on screen. And I just want you to think about the absolute first thing you see. A few of you have done this already, and I've read them, and they're quite fun. I read them before coming to class, and there's quite a bit of difference in what you see. But let's try you out and see how your perceptual system operates. And I have several images. This is a slightly, and you may, Aaron, you may have to tighten the shot so that it's quite clear. This is slightly different from the one that's in the online exercise. Which vertical line is longer? Do they look longer and shorter to you? Yeah. But I can measure them. I know they're the same way. But notice what happens to our perceptual process, and I'm looking on these screens, the inward turn of the arrowheads compared to the outward shape of the arrowheads affects how we perceive it. And you should see the one on the left as shorter, the vertical line on the left as shorter than the vertical line on the right. The fact, they're the same. Perception, they are different. Is this a problem for us? You bet. Because it's kind of not cool to misunderstand the length of the lines when driving a car or flying an airplane. And that's why we worry about it. The next image is a classic that you have seen in other courses, I am sure. And a little bit tighter, Aaron, if we can stay in focus. That's as far as it'll go. That's all right. So what do you see? Don't all speak at the same time. We have a hard time processing it. Two faces?
I would say a vase and two faces.
What do you want to say? A vase and two faces? How can it be both?
Depends on if you look at the light contrast or the dark contrast.
Yeah, this is a famous illusion. The text tells you about it. And it's been around since the 1800s. And it is two vases, a vase when you look at the white outline object, and it's two faces when you look at the dark part of it. So we're not wrong. In this case, we are correct on both sides of it. And then another classic image. Just a moment, it's upside down. I'll do it that way. What do you see? An old woman?
Or a young woman.
Or a young woman? All right, we're going to spend some time on this one. And I can see that there is some coaching going on to help people out. It is both an old woman and a young woman. And you may say, how can it be both? Well, we'll figure it out in a moment, but it's there. Who cannot see both images?
I can't.
Okay, there's about 10 people in the room here, and I don't know about Los Alamos. I'm seeing some shaking, nodding heads. And the other sites would have to click to let us see them. Okay, still don't see it? All right. Old woman has a large nose with a possible wart, with her mouth down here, a long chin, buried in what could be a fur coat or fur shawl. You all right? There's the eye of the old woman. Now, who does not see the old woman? All right? You still don't see it. Oh, hey, come on.
What's a black thing then?
Like her bangs or something.
Those are the old woman's bangs. And this is the old woman's scarf outline. And the scarf extends back to here. You can see it's a rather craggy looking female face. And you're not going to get a headache from this one. And one coming up is going to give you a headache in a moment. Now, let's stay with this. Your perceptual process is working against you in this case. Do you still not see it, by the way?
No, I see it
You
now.
see it now, okay. And I've looked at this image for 30 some odd years, and many of you have seen it in undergraduate courses in psychology. So if you've seen it before, you know what it is. If you see it for the first time, you don't know what it is. And I've had students in classes who say, I can't see, one or the other, the old woman or the young woman. Now, do you all see the young woman? We okay on that one? No. Thank you for going public. And I know up at Los Alamos with all the radiation and everything, I hope we're okay in our perceptual process. There's no radiation up there. Now, the young woman, her face is turned to the right, so that this item here is a necklace. And this is the young woman's, the nose of the old lady is the young woman's chin. Her nose is right here, her eyelid is right there, and this is her hair, and it comes up and sweeps up to the right. Pardon?
I see the young lady.
Okay. But you don't see the old woman?
The old lady, I see the nose and the word, or the mole. Or the,
Nose, mouth, chin.
yeah.
Okay. Go into OB online if you haven't done it already, and you can play with this one. And it depends on how well it projects on a computer screen. Okay. The next one is also in the OB online. Do you see 2 or 3 prongs? Do you see 2? Does everyone see 3 prongs? Does everyone see 2 prongs? Or I should say it the other way, anyone who doesn't. And at the sites, you just yell and scream so that I know whether you do or not. And does it move? It'll move. In fact, one of the people who did this online said it made her nauseous.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was, but and it can make you dizzy if you look at it, and especially if you look at it in the exercise with a computer screen, because it's going to have much better resolution than I'm able to give you here. And by the way, as I said when we started, this is not a test of intelligence or psychosis or anything of that sort. But now what do we see? Are the 4 lines of the inner square straight or curved? Right. So it's the background. It's the context within which you see this. If I remove the background and presented the cube, of course the lines were straight. Put the background in, and that changes our perceptual process so that we're getting cues from another source. You're getting cues not only from the cube, but the circles, the concentric circles behind the cube.
On the last one, how did you only see 2 prongs on the last one?
If the start by looking at the top, don't look at the bottom, look at the top and follow it down slowly, and then you can kind of you separate them.
Right.
Like look at the top left corner.
Okay.
Yeah, he's right. If you look at the top in the curve of the device, you will see 2. And then if you look down at the prongs themselves, you see 3.
Okay.
Now you can do this in the exercise. You can play with it, look at it for a moment. You don't spend hours on it. It's not obviously intended to take that much time. There's another contextual disturbance. which circle is larger?